So, okay, Uma, what is the name of this book?
It's called Kala by Colin Walsh.
Yeah, that's an Irish name. Checks out.
Yeah, exactly. But I didn't realize how Irish the book would be until I started reading, and it's about these like teenagers, and one of them, Kala, disappears, whatever. And there's like the whole night of the like not the depths, but something similar.
A
Just
junior
like
disco
junior disco,
is what we would call
exactly.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, there's the sentence, "Will you shift my friend?" And I just started laughing my ass off. Like, this is the most Irish book ever.
Oh, so it's not
I mean,
the Irish Wish or an Irish Wish or whatever that Lindsay Lohan movie is called. That classic.
No, it's actually accurate.
I don't know what you're talking about. That movie. I know lots about Ireland because of you guys. And that movie seemed to fit all the checked all the boxes. Magic, elves,
Cliffs mower.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing else. Lindsay Lohan, Irish.
The greatest reaction to once being asked, will you, like I got a rare "will you shift me" once directly from the asker,
from the source.
I peaked when I was a teenager, I'll tell you that for sure. And when I responded no, the response that came back, this was being yelled at me from across the street, by the way. The response that came back was, "I didn't want to anyway," which I was like, all right, I don't really know why you asked then.
You got the women treatment. Like, that's what we get every time.
And then I became a feminist because like, oh, is this what it's like?
Yeah,
oh,
Kieran,
no.
I think you got pickup artisted.
Oh, no.
Yeah, a weird dude with a funky hat came up to you.
Yeah, a one Andrea Tate of Ballymun. Oh God, we'll be talking about him later. Anyway,
yeah, and that time that his female twin met you in Ireland.
Hey, welcome to your weekly corner Späti. It is me, Kieran. I am joined by Uma.
Hello.
Nick.
Hey.
And a special guest star from No Gods, No Mayors and Trashfuture.
No, that's all. Just No Gods, No Mayors.
Just that one. And Glue Factory as well. Yeah, you're regular on that. Yeah, you're the...
Yeah. I'm one of the... I put in some of the original money. I'm one of the hosts of that show.
That's fair. I've seen a couple of episodes. Some people are rotated in and out, and I forget which ones.
Yeah,
I apologize.
Right. I actually, my name on the Zencaster is my name on the Zencaster is the same name I picked for the No Gods No Mayors Sarah Palin episode, because me, Maddie, and November always try to do little themed names for one another. And I tried to come up with, what if I was one of Sarah Palin's kids? How would she have spelled my name?
Oh hell yeah, that rips.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's my normal name, Riley, but like 12 letters long and with lots of GHs. Is that just because like there's a sort of there's a bone in like sort of evangelical and Mormon upper middle class Americans that somehow just their name gland, their name lobe of their brain is just geared towards Ireland like Muslims pray to Mecca?
Possibly, yeah. Like, yeah. Well, yours would be like Riley Ann Rose.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. Yeah. Like,
yeah. The Mormon female name generator of like Kaylee, Kayli, Lee K, just a handful of syllables being rearranged.
No, Kieran, you got this wrong. The Mormons do biblical names. The Mormons name their kids like Nebuchadnezzar and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, it's they'll usually do a combination, especially you see this in like Mormon tech people, like in because there's a big like ecosystem of startups in Utah. A lot of them originally, weirdly, like all the ancestry like all of those startups originated in Utah because of the importance to Mormonism of tracing your lineage. And so, like, So like Ancestry.com's a fucking Mormon company.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. The like Mormon church, like I think like 20, 30 years
Yeah.
ago or so, because also like not only is that important, but then also like converting people to Mormonism so that they can go to Mormon whatever
After they
planet.
die.
Yeah, after they die. And they got in huge trouble because they converted like people who had died in the Holocaust to Mormonism, and like the Anti-Defamation League had to like get involved and be like, this is horrific, you can't do this.
Yeah, and they were like, "Okay, fine. Okay, fine. We'll
Yeah,
stop."
we'll
And then
stop it.
they continue practicing post-death conversions in secret.
Yeah.
Look, only one person needs to know, and that guy is
Yeah.
God. So
Well,
it's
like
fine.
it's like every Mormon house, every like upper middle class Mormon house, which is like almost all Mormons, it seems, has like they're all McMansions with like 90 rooms. Like if anyone in the people in the U.S., so Nick sort of is alive to this, like their houses will have like, oh yeah, that's the gift wrapping room that we put all of our like wrapping paper in or whatever. Oh, this is the room where we keep all of our snacks with yellow dye number 243A or whatever. Like fully rooms in the house. So
Yeah,
I would be totally unsurprised if it emerged in Mormonism, much like a priest hole emerged in like sort of 17th century Catholic English grand houses. That there would be like a post-death conversion room that's hidden behind like an inspirational poster.
Oh God!
And all of that is to say is that these are people who are going to reinvent the Irish spelling of the activity of a Kaylee from first principles with identical spelling, but for the name of like a girl.
Yeah, it would be Kaylee Ann, like hyphenated. Yeah, absolutely. Oh God. Anyway, yes,
I'm Riley. I forgot to say my name. We said the shows I was from. Yeah, that's me. My name, of course, is spelled RAIYLEIGH.
That is kind of like an American Irish spelling because you wouldn't have a Y in there. Come on.
Oh no!
Amateur
Again,
hour.
remember, these are people who've never left the country. These
Yeah,
are people who've never left the state.
Utah.
Or no,
Yeah,
sorry, Utah.
exactly.
They've left the country once to go on mission in
mission.
Lesotho, and
Yeah.
that's all.
I remember a buddy of mine like just like left the church because he like his mission was in Oklahoma, and he's like, I'm not doing that. So then he just
Was he just
Oh,
hoping for somewhere more
sucks.
exotic? Or
well, like he I guess so first, and then he like got Oklahoma, and he's like, this blows ass, and then he just like went to like the priest or whatever. No, they're not whatever, they're like elders, I guess they're called.
Yeah.
And then was just like, yeah, like I fuck, I do this, I do that, I do drugs, I drink, and then they just like excommunicated him. So I
Just,
mean,
like,
baller
flipped
move.
his way into the elder.
It's basically-
he did
it's what it is.
skateboard. I did skate with him a few times, so this
He
does
is-
fit.
He is essentially committing Mormon social suicide in protest of getting a lame mission, which I
Yeah.
think is very cool.
Yeah.
It's like, look, send me to fucking Suriname, or I'm going to tell you about all of the times I drank coffee.
Oh God.
Okay,
Anyway,
we have stuff to talk about. Sorry,
We
I don't
do,
usually
yeah.
I don't usually get to be in this role. Like I never get to do this.
I have collected a handful of what I'm going to be calling Riley topics from the continent of Europe. Things that I feel like Riley could
To
speak
be fair, Riley topics in the continent of Europe, like in my actual life, like 9 out of 10 of those are either like dance music things or wine.
I did have to control myself from not putting in the Guardian article that was like, climate change isn't so bad, Ireland can grow wine now. That was a deeply depressing read. Anyway, first thing I have to mention is that there was a fake news story going around when Sonic 3 the movie was announced that the poster was going to be Sonic and Shadow the Hedgehog kissing after making the number 3. It was a DeviantArt poster. It was very well made. Looked like matched the like in-house style of the Sonic movie franchise perfectly. And we found out this week that a movie theater in Croatia on it like by accident did upload that poster as if it was the real one. So yeah, I've included that screenshot in the notes.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Yep,
with
excellent.
yep. Do with that what you will.
No, I think they knew. I think they did it on purpose. I think
No,
it was
no,
like
no, no.
the person working there was just like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's
Yeah,
do
fuck this.
this.
I
Fuck
imagine
this.
it more so
who's
in
gonna see it? You know, only like the few people
Yeah.
that are going to watch Sonic dubbed as well. No, it says
yeah, with the
dubbed
like
version.
yeah, the like Soviet like just person talking over it the whole time. One guy just narrating the whole Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie. I like to imagine this more so in the sense that it's just like an old Balkan man who just like runs the theater, just didn't know. And was like, well, all right, like, you know, guess I'll, you know, throw this up on the whatever side of the theater or whatever.
It's an American movie. They're all like that. It's just like his very like
yeah,
old second world opinions of the West just like manifest in this poster.
These fucking perverts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. However, I am committed to always representing the movie faithfully. I may believe that gay Sonic, when he kisses Knuckles, is a sin. I may believe that I may think that this offends the sensibilities of me and the rest of Croatia.
Yeah.
However, before I am a Croatian, I am a movie theater employee.
Before I'm a Croatian, before I'm a Catholic, Slava Hrvatska, but still movie theater, keynote, we must respect.
Yeah, no, we will never disrespect the vision of the filmmaker and the vision of the marketing team of the film.
The parents, they come to me, they want me to cut the sex scene from the Sonic 3 movie, but I shall not.
I will only show the original urban myth copies of The Lion King that have the sort of crude messages written in the clouds, because I am one of the last people who respects this as an art. If we stop doing this, we might as well let AI make all the movies.
We will talk about AI in a minute, but before going this, I feel like, Riley, you would know this person. Are you aware of Dryden Brown and Praxis Nation?
Oh, yeah. We've talked about Praxis. I mean, I actually sometimes feel like I bought the wrong company, so to speak, in terms of which one to talk about. Like I invested in the bottom of Prospera because I thought, because Prospera was the one that was like, yeah, okay, so this is the one that's like actually happening. It's the city in Roatan in Honduras that's run by a Venezuelan with a German name who used to work at like the most security serviced of all investment banks. And they have like slowly taken, and they've got this like coup era law in Honduras that's currently being fought by the new Xiomara Castro administration to like have a city where they make all the laws. And like not like around murder and immigration stuff, like those are reserved for the state, but things like regulation, food standards, like labor law, all that stuff in Prospera, this like city, is totally left up to this like very shadowy technical board of directors, which includes like old Reagan speechwriters, Patry Friedman, a Habsburg,
yes.
like that, and so that's what I'm thinking about when I think like startup nation, right?
Yeah.
Is I always go to Prospera because like they actually are trying to build the eco-modernist houses there. Like it's the one that's the most advanced in actually happening. But because prediction is an idiot's game, by focusing on Prospera and not focusing on Praxis, I feel like I've missed the big hot story now, which is like a bunch of fucking like tealed up fascists who are addicted to posting and who are sort of part of some of the people who are like radicalizing Elon Musk even more. They tried to build a city in the Mediterranean. Obviously, that didn't work because there's too many countries in Europe are sort of concerned with like, no, we only want our little bits of the country where law doesn't apply to be like free ports where trade can happen but nobody lives. And the goal of these people has always been, we need to make a place where people live that also is ruled by like the William Rees-Mogg book about like blood in the streets. So then and now they're like, okay, well, I guess we're not going to do it there. And these are some of the people who, with like Musk and Thiel or whatever, have been making a lot of noise about the U.S. creating like opportunities for them to build their little toy town, where they get to decide what the age of consent is.
Yeah, that'd be a primary concern. I think I remember Praxis Nation coming up when they were like, we want to build like a kind of like semi-feudal town somewhere in like the Mediterranean, a place where people famously live. So that was kind of like difficult. I did think that maybe they could get the like Jared Leto cult island from Croatia, but that's a different. I don't know who owns that right now.
I think they should have done it and then immediately had a border dispute with Turkey. That would have ripped. Just like Turkey just invades it immediately and like, nope, ours.
Well, that's what if like, yeah, you could do this like Recep Tayyip Erdogan just bigs up Dryden Brown to buy a Greek island only for him to take it later.
Yeah, exactly.
You will be a wonderful middleman for me to reclaim the Ottoman Empire. So he went. After that, he went. This was late last year. Went and was like, I want to buy Greenland, because he was like, that seems like a country that I have enough money to try and like put in a bid on.
What the fuck is with everyone wanting to buy Greenland lately? What did they do to everyone? I mean, Trump mentioned this has mentioned this on multiple occasions actually, and now it's becoming like a thing again that he's just been like, oh yeah, let me like. Motherfucker would like rather buy the U.S. would rather buy Greenland than like give people health care. Like,
famously, the Greenlandic people have done nothing to no one. Actually, they have a lot of things done to them.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And this seems to be a thing that, like, the really funny thing about all of the like Trump and everyone else trying to buy Greenland is like Denmark, at least, like Copenhagen, at least knows that they can't be like too, aggressive on like, no, we own Greenland, because everyone in Greenland hates that.
I mean, look, it's the classic thing of when you don't have any frontier left, one needs to be invented. We thought one was going to be space, that's sort of difficult and inconvenient. And why create a new frontier in space when you could just pick big or small swaths of territory that you would consider to be like under-governed, or where there aren't sort of very, very strong states. Places, for example, like Honduras, or like even Greenland, right, where there is a relatively small amount of people compared to the land area, and then say, okay, well, we're going to double back on on Westphalia, right? We're going to double back on the territorial integrity, on states not changing ownership, and we are going to recreate what we would consider to be frontier conditions in places that are peripheral, right? I mean, there's a really, really good book on this called "Crack Up Capitalism" by Quinn that I've read and talked about on TF. I've talked to Quinn before about other things. I talked to him actually about that William Rees-Mogg book that's sort of advocating for this same thing, and it's really all it partly it's a desire for it's a desire for resources. Sure, it always is, but also it is a desire to have places where there are not set and institutionalized ways of doing things, so you can set and institutionalize the ways of doing things. It's like what was it Mark said about the dead weighing like a nightmare on the living. It's like if you're rich enough, you've decided, well, the dead of like Franklin Delano Roosevelt, if you're in the States, right, that weighs like a nightmare on me, living capital. So I'm going to go and escape it as best I can, whether that's in space, in Greenland, in Honduras, or whatever. It's all the same thing. It's like if you're not going to be, if you feel as though you can do no more, if you chafe against the limits to your authority imposed by these things, then you're going to want to go somewhere where you limit your own authority. It's terrifying, but relatively simple.
Oh yeah, like that. I guess wasn't. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, again, like Kieran said, of just like Greenland's done nothing to no one for so long, and it's just been like quite horrible that then this specific block of land that just happens to be I guess, near-ish to the United States has become just like the battleground for freaks. And like because like I guess like neoliberalism already has like it's like things like special economic zones and whatnot that kind of like do like a similar principle, but like kind of the next step of that is this like this like horrifying new frontier, and the fact that everything is just like so on the nose with I guess more so in this like the age of like digital capital that we're in, like where they are like the true ideologues and such as well, where they are just like, I mean, like as you mentioned, like these people are all like, teal backed freaks. And he's someone who has been very on the nose of what he like ideologically wants in terms of these, like, I want, like I want to make my rules. Age of consent doesn't exist. How like capital flows in and out of our like pretend, play country. Is all quite horrifying, and like I don't, and it weird, it like of course then couples itself too within like the rise of like the new European right, how like also this too, like a lot of the I believe like in Germany, for example, with like the rise of the AfD that then's happening now, people don't realize that a lot of these like economic ideas also behind them are from like this bizarre kind of hodgepodge of like Austrian economics and whatnot, or other fringe economic ideas, paired up obviously, of course, with like race science and eugenics and all that other kind of stuff. So yeah, it definitely like hits you at face value of like, oh yeah, we live in a horrible timeline. Like,
yeah,
I have a solution to this though, and then we can move on, because I think we could bring Donald Trump back to 2011, when websites like Real Size Of were like really popular, where you could just show him that Greenland isn't actually that big on the map by dragging it over to Africa and seeing how like small it is in comparison. I think he wouldn't be interested then.
My theory is that Trump is actually, because he's like secretly a girly. I think he's like actually a big Björk fan, but doesn't realize that Greenland and Iceland are not the same thing. So that's my theory of it. He just wants to own.
Can I just quickly say as well that I don't know why you left this out, Kieran, from the notes. This Dryden Brown guy, his name on Twitter is Galactic Roman Emperor.
Fun.
Which
I try not to be on that website anymore.
Yeah, fair. I Googled him, and that was the first thing that popped up. He has over 23,000 followers, but they're very clearly bot, because
bots or people who are real, just that post like bots.
No, like his last tweet has 41 likes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was 9 hours ago. So anyway,
all 41 of them are from my alts.
Which are just various Mormon spellings of Riley.
Yeah, that's right. I think that I think Prince Hans Adam of Liechtenstein has a lot of great ideas about the sort of natural and implied hierarchy of people that we should allow just to run rampant, and that there's been an egalitarian conspiracy against him for too long, and that we need to find just the perfect web of sci-fi references so that people think that we're approachable.
Yeah. Okay, now, Riley, I have a startup for you.
Go for it.
One that you've probably heard of, and possibly mightn't be technically a startup anymore. It's probably, got enough funding now to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of Bunk?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of P.T. Barnum, the Prince of Bunk. Of course, because he was very interested in debunking things. I assume you're talking about P.T. Barnum, the circus founder?
I'm afraid I'm not. That sounds more jovial.
Mm-hmm.
No, BUNK Bunk, which is a Dutch digital bank.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay, that one, you're giving me something new here.
Excellent. So, like a lot of digital banks, they've had problems in the past with like trying to actually act like a real bank. So, like,
you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, right. So they were very popular with criminals in the Netherlands, particularly in the mafia, because for a long time you didn't need the like Dutch equivalent of a social security number to make an account. So it was rife with fraud or like money moving and whatnot. there was also an issue where like the help desk and support wasn't as responsive to things like fraud, scams, and phishing of their customers that like, you know, a brick and mortar bank probably would be.
Mm-hmm. So far I'm with you.
Yeah. Now, so this like a new scandal has come to light when someone edited their Wikipedia page to mention all of that stuff that I just said in, you know, detailed and be cited and things like that. And then later, this woman who is supposedly anonymous on Wikipedia but is an editor got messages in her bunk app through the chat services demanding that she change what is written on Wikipedia. And I believe I can get the exact quote was to moderate their tone. And the bank said their relationship would end. Basically, they'll close her account if they don't do this.
Yeah. So wait, so they're just like, hey, you legally have to be nice to us. To which she probably said, I legally do not have to be nice to you.
Which she said like, oh, I'll just screenshot all of this and bring it to like the Dutch press.
Yeah, I mean that's such a funny thing about like a lot of these people are trying to, you know, reinvent business by the seat of their pants or whatever. I mean, you see it. We've seen it a few times on TF as well. We're talking most recently, actually, I think about the UK rail minister, where they'll just be like, what we're going to do is we are going to improperly exert pressure on someone, whether that's a customer, a reviewer, whether that's an employee, whatever. We're going to do like, you know, in the UK case, it was the rail minister like basically making not so oblique threats to a consulting company that was supposed to fire Gareth Dennis, friend of TF, in a rail a train like design engineer, pointed out the station wasn't safe. He was like, hey, if you want to get your want to keep getting your contracts, maybe you should fire that guy who whistle blew. And the propensity of these people to do all of this by email.
Yeah, that sounds like a very
never have a phone call, never just like never just pop in. Like that's the old ways of doing things, which is that you get together in the back of a grocery store owned by you or one of your friends' mothers and then talk about it over like 9 espressos. That tradition has died. And the old ways were good, I think.
This does sound very German.
Yeah, I was about to say, exactly. This sounds exactly like I had a landlord who used to be like a major, I guess he still is like a major businessman in Germany, who tried to blackmail me through email. So I just didn't have to just screen cap their fucking emails. I then called him back and I'm all like, are you blackmailing me like through a method that then I can just like print out and show a lawyer? And he was like, no, I had COVID. And I'm like, yeah, dude, whatever.
What?
So yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to blackmail you. I had COVID.
Yeah, that was his excuse.
One of the symptoms of long COVID is
blackmailing.
Blackmailing.
Yeah, one of the symptoms of long COVID is exerting improper influence.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm coughing. I have headaches. My muscles ache. I just have to blackmail my tenants. It's the only way out of this, surely.
I'm surprised he didn't do it through letters, though, or fax. Email is very advanced.
I emailed him. That was the thing. That then I emailed him, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? This has been like 3 months. Where's my contract? I'd been living in the place, and he promised me the contract. So then he thought that he'd be smart by just not responding to me, and then be able to kick me out after 3 months of, you know, me just saving the money that then would have been rent. And then he was just like, you owe me rent tomorrow at 10 a.m. And I'm like, no, I don't, because you never gave me any information. And then like I called him up, and then he was just like a stammering little baby. And it was like, and then I went to a lawyer afterwards. They're just like, pay him and then move out. And I did exactly that. And then when I paid him, he sent me the contract. He's like, oh, wow, thank you so much. I'm like, dude, fuck yourself. And then it's really bad when like a lawyer who has to deal with like housing problems tells you that they know this person and that he's a piece of shit. So that was great. They're like, yeah, just move out, just avoid him. Even like a friend of mine sued him and won because he never goes to court.
It's very fun to be like, to have a lawyer talk to your lawyer and be like, and your lawyer be like, oh yeah, this guy's my mortal enemy. We're basically enemies. That's cool.
In a more high-profile case of this sounding very German is how the Comex scandal was found out about, because like Olaf Scholz's like main partner in crime really loved journaling. Like he just wrote down every crime he committed in like a little diary.
That's just the plot of the movie Casino. That's just what happens in the movie. You're not going to trick me with this one.
Yeah, he's just there talking about all the weird money he's moving around, being like, "My life a movie." But I do want to get to like the remaining half of the show we have left. I want to get to our main topic, which is a regular character in all of our lives, but particularly on TF, Musk, and his kind of like increased interest in notably the UK and Germany.
Yeah, do you have I have a theory of why he is so interested in the UK. I mean, there are multiple theories, but I have one if you're interested in it.
Absolutely. I try not to look at the UK.
So I think that, and because this isn't actually unique to Musk, it's American conservatives have been, for like 3 separate reasons, getting increasingly incensed about the UK since 9/11. And this is down to, number one, lots of right-wing British think tanks setting up shop in Washington. Number two, it's due to the fact that the UK is far enough away from the States that you can kind of just make whatever claim you want, and like it will be more believable. Because if you were to, you can talk endlessly about, like, I don't know, Rotherham, right? If you're in Florida, right? Ron DeSantis can be like, it's terrible what they're doing to the girls up there in Rotherham and right? But he can't really say the same thing about Dearborn. Dearborn is also a very sort of Muslim city in the States, because people know too much about what the States is, how it works. They might even know some American Muslims, but like, oh, but that's not like European Muslims who aren't like the people who I might see, even in a service capacity, right? If these are people who are so in white enclaves that like they have to still imagine. It's to me, it's the same reason why Shakespeare wrote about Italian city states in so many of his plays rather than like England, right?
It's close enough to be familiar, but far enough away for you to just say whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why. And then the third reason is that they like the accent. and also like it lets you invent whatever reality you want if you're an American conservative. And the thing about Elon Musk is also the other way I think about conservatives is there's this dialectical relationship between the radicalizers who understand that they're using these forces to achieve political ends and do believe them, right? But who also understand their political utility. Mm-hmm. And then the radicalized, which is people who do not understand that these are things with political uses that have end goals that they're instrumental for. They think they're the end in themselves. I mean, and people who are, and there, I think, has been one of the stories of conservative politics over the last 20 years, like 24 years, 23 years, however you want to count it, since Reagan even, since Nixon in some cases, has been the radicalized slowly taking over from the radicalizers, because the radicalized, someone who uses culture war panics for a political end is never going to fully satisfy the culture war panic, right? You use something like grooming gangs to like create panic about Muslims to get elected in the UK. What you're whipping the people who vote for you up into is a verging on a pogrom level of fury. And we saw that happen after Southport. Like that was pretty close to like a race riots or pogroms in the UK, just directed at Muslims, or refugees in general. And that's what they want. And the point of governing society is you want to be like, well, I want there to be a society to govern. I'm going to use this to take control of something, and so on and so on. But then you never actually give them the pogrom that they want. And so what happens is you become Cucked and Brandon and Soy and Cringe and all that stuff. And slowly, the next person who takes over is willing to go a little farther, because that's how you take power. You say, I will finally be a true conservative. I will finally exterminate the brutes. I will finally put gunboats in the channel. And then, they don't quite do that, but they get a little closer. And I see Elon Musk as someone who like is one of and the story is, right, the people are taking over are always a little more radicalized or a little more willing to act radicalized than the people they took over from. And Elon Musk is a power player and sort of regrettably in sort of American and European politics. He tried to be a power player in Brazilian politics, and then just like they imposed one consequence on him at all, and he immediately backed down. Also, is the other thing to remember. He gave up on all of his like attempts to incite stochastic terrorism against Alexandre de Moraes, the higher court judge in Brazil, just to be like, oh yeah, forget it. We don't care about Brazil anymore. I don't give a shit. Yeah, they can do what they want. It was 1 week of blocking access to Twitter, and he backed down. And no one else seems to be interested in doing that. But he is ultimately someone who is radicalized by his own platform, which is darkly amusing. But he is someone who is currently controlling the red meat machine, whose desire isn't to steer a conservative electorate by deploying red meat. His desire is the red meat itself. He does not see this stuff as instrumental. He sees it as an end in itself because he's been radicalized, basically. And it's not like he was some kind of a even liberal before. Like we've talked about this for years on TF. He was always like, he was always like this. It's become louder and more urgent, I think, in his psyche. And his power to make it real for himself, his power to make the little sort of fun games he plays online with like fucking Ian Miles Chong or whatever, his power to make those real is quite significant. And it has consequences for actual humans.
I do find it very interesting, the like reality warping potential of just even like owning X, like an increasingly irrelevant website, because caught some of the like news here in Ireland this morning over the radio, and they're talking about like his influence over Germany before the election. And we've talked about this in Cornish Späti for years of just like Twitter is not really a German website. Like people never really got into Twitter. Like, and now that Twitter is dying, people have very kind of like happily just switched their political posting style to Instagram, something that's been like way more successful in Germany. More people have like Pinterest accounts here than Twitter. I think right before Musk took over, there was like those corporate Twitter leaks that was just like, yeah, outside of the English speaking world and Japan, Twitter isn't terribly successful. Compared to like, especially compared to other social medias. But they're like, the news is still very convinced that like Musk is going to swing the German election for the AFD, the AFD, despite like them being successful in the polls for quite some time. Nick,
yeah, like it. There was an op-ed yesterday in the Guardian from Hanno Hauenstein about like exactly that. That I do recommend people giving a look at. Where it kind of talks about, like Musk is doing this like pro AFD, shift or whatever. Not shift, I guess is the wrong word. Like you mentioned, he's always been very much on this fringe right. But kind of then encapsulating the sense like Germany can also do this themselves quite well. There's no need for. I mean, like Musk is like I guess like broadening people's horizons outside of Germany, people who don't like, I don't know who that Welt op-ed was for, to be completely honest. That's I guess the first thing. But the CDU and CSU don't need Elon Musk. They're already making their like deportation election posters that then are just literally Nazi the NPD posters from like 10 years ago. This like rightward shift internally with every single party happened naturally without Elon Musk at all. And like there is to, how much that then he is shifting the Overton window in Germany, I guess is, debatable. Because I don't know how many people are in people use Twitter in Germany, like, the only people I know who really use it here are like journalists and shit like that. There's not like a posting culture, or there are like fringe, weird kind of left or right accounts that just shit post and retweet one another, but it's not nearly like the same as the United States or the UK for that matter.
Yeah, and like you can get a real sense that like what's happening with Musk, like for liberals, politicians here, it's finally we can put a face to everything that's been going wrong as we see it in our politics for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And now we can say this one guy who's doing it, and if we just do something about it, not anything meaningful, but something vaguely, we can sort all these problems. And then there's like, and then you can kind of prove that with just like Elon Musk's politics have always been like this, but it does really, I know he's not American, but it does very remind me of like American remembering other countries exist kind of thing. Like he's talking about Germany now because he's just kind of like remembered Germany. And you can like, the one thing that I'm kind of fascinated with at the moment is like, why isn't he talking about France? Like France also has like a degree of incompetency from a supposed like center or center left, however the media describes Macron, and like seems like the kind of shit that he would gravitate towards, but just hasn't bothered.
I think I'll tell you why. I think it's because the AFD posts a shit ton, and there are memes. The AFD is really like sends memes into English speaking Twitter, and so he sees the memes, and then he's like, "Oh, it would be epic if Germany had a really right wing government."
Yeah.
And then he just says, "Okay, well, I'll do that one next." I mean, if the National Front or Rassemblement National or whatever in France wants to get Musk attention, then all they need to do is start creating some memes that cross over into English language Twitter.
They would never. They're
a French person doing that.
They're
Exactly.
like their fingers would melt while they post.
No, we will not have the Anglo billionaire polluting our politics. We're trying to depollute them. That's why we're doing this. Perhaps we could get the Arnaud family to generate us a francophone Musk.
I mean, yeah, like you have a section, like they do have Bardella is like their TikTok meme champion.
Yeah.
But then you also have another section or like wing of that party that's just like, it should be a death sentence in France for you to use an English loan word.
Yeah. France is also super online too in their own like regard. Like this is regardless
but isolated. Nothing comes in, nothing
incredibly
comes out.
isolated because of, the language barrier. But yeah, like France like is, I would say far more online than Germany is, like politically, like at least in terms of like posting streamers, this kind of like ecosystem that then aside from even just like the right wingers who do it, there's a big like kind of network of like leftists who do the same thing too. Like,
yeah, for the French elections, I did watch a lot of like Blast News, which is their kind of like alternative left media network on YouTube for whatever videos they had subtitled on that I could translate. It's quite handy. That exists in a way that it doesn't really exist in Germany. You just have what's his name? Thilo Jung. That's
Young,
it. Yeah. Oh god. So Musk, just to kind of like tie this into the last little thing I want to talk about, which is, Europe is now kind of like expected to do something. I would hope they do. Like the EU theoretically has the power to do like what Brazil did, which is just like block Twitter for a week.
They have the power to just do anything.
Yeah.
And I don't mean they have the power to do anything. Anything they do will be something. And Elon Musk, in addition to many other things, wants his political life to be as easy as his posting life because he just posts. That's how he does it. Right?
Yeah.
And if you suddenly are like, well, you can't, the thing that you post on has actually been materially altered by the laws of Brazil, then you can't post your way out of that one. You have to stop posting in order to continue. So if you just present to him a problem that cannot be solved with posting, then you will probably have the upper hand.
I did want to like this a little bit of irony of like one of the strongest voices in the European Parliament calling for like something to be done is Damien Bouzelaga of the head of Volt.
You of course always have to bring it back to your boys.
My fucking boy, which I find very funny because like about 2 months earlier he made an AI generated image for like the basically calling for a European and or German equivalent of Doge, of the Department of Government Efficiency. So that kind of leads me to my last little topic, which is
I wish the listener could have seen Uma's reaction to that.
We should in Europe they should get
disgust.
They should get Jan Marsalek to lead European Doge. Bring him back from We've lost a great innovator to Russia. We need to get him back.
Oh,
we need to reverse paperclip Jan Marsalek back from Russia so he can lead European Doge. Because we don't want to rely on American Doge.
Oh, of course not. I do appreciate that his wanted posters are still all over Germany. Like
Jan Marsalek ones.
Yeah, it is. Like they're still like there's
I still think they can get him.
Still think they can get him, yeah. Well, because I had to go to the police station like recently for something, and there's just like wanted, and then just him, and I'm like,
yeah, because you saw a bald man with very sharp features, carrying around a big folder that said Novichok on it. You had to report that you'd seen Jan Marsalek. You saw a hand and the cuff of a very nice tailored suit reaching out from being concreted into an underpass. And you needed to go tell the German police.
I think his wanted posters are still at Janowitzbrücke as well, too, which is a very odd place for those just to be put up. But yeah,
I like the
Germany's
idea
still going to catch him.
Yeah,
what are they going to do? They're going to catch him while he's like walking to Berghain. They're going to catch him while he's like walking from Berghain to Katablau because he didn't get in.
I like the idea that it's also specifically because like wanted posters, not only are we going to catch him, the state, but actually it will be some sort of like citizenry, like aided arrest, like either like citizens arrest or like someone's going to catch him out in public and just call the police. Like we have to get the people, the public of Berlin on this.
Yeah,
we need to get everybody in Germany needs to come together as one people, not that kind. We're just trying to get one guy.
We're just trying.
Everyone in Germany gets together and does a protest walk to Moscow to go grab Jan Marsalek from the neighborhood he lives in next to Gerard Depardieu, Steven Seagal, and Edward Snowden.
Just like
they all live together. They all live in the same neighborhood. It's
really?
So funny. Yeah, they all live. It's
like a little America kind of neighborhood or whatever, a little West.
It's called Castle. Fuck it. What's it called? It's called Castle. It's a Moscow neighborhood. With a German name. It's called Meyendorf Castle. There we go. They all live in a neighborhood called Meyendorf Castle in Moscow.
Rancid vibes from
like Assad's
Russian
now there. Like, okay, we're getting it. Oh, Steven Seagal, like, okay, we're getting a new neighbor. Everybody make him feel welcome.
Just like an absolutely like rancid poker table.
Yeah.
Oh,
God.
Anyway. Last little thing I wanted to touch on is just the use of
Assad,
AI.
you always fold. It ruins the game.
Oh, sorry, Assad. I thought you meant Assange. And I was like, why did Assange go there?
no, Assange is in Australia now.
Good. I love how the Russian state had to put out a press release being like, no, Assad is not getting divorced. I was like, I don't know if I need the Russian state to have my back on this issue. Like, I don't feel like my marriage is going well if like the government of Russia has to intervene on my behalf.
It's so embarrassing though. Why did they get involved like that?
It's so weird. Like the rumors are going around that like she filed for divorce and wanted to move to London, which may or may not be true. I don't really care. But then it was just that like the Russian MFA had to come out and be like, that's not true. It's like, hang on, what?
What's her name? Yeah.
That is so embarrassing. That just makes it look like it is true.
Yeah, right.
Can you? I'm just imagining. What's her name? The press chica.
I know who.
Blah.
I forgot her name. Yeah.
I have her face on my mind, but I don't know what her.
Anyway, yeah, like a 6-hour press conference, just like that, because that she can talk. She loves to talk.
Just digging the biggest hole that, don't worry, this relationship is fine.
Exactly.
They're just like, they're halfway through rewatching Breaking Bad. They're like getting takeout. It's fine. We have some DMs that she's been sending to her group chat, her friends. We're not ready to release those at this moment.
Oof, you can never release the group chat DMs. That is.
The second house is just for their furniture. Yeah, just absolutely horrendous. Yeah, the worst Photoshop pictures of them holding hands in like a shopping mall in Moscow. Just be like, it's real, totally. Like she's like, the proportions are just all off. Like he's like 3 times larger than he should be, kind of thing.
He's getting jacked in Moscow. There's nothing else to do there.
Yeah, it's just like a specific type of like getting buff that just makes you larger proportionally.
Yes,
it doesn't like add any muscle.
No, it's only because it's actually a picture of her with her new boyfriend, and they had to just kind of fit his head into, Assad's head into this random guy's body, and it just all looks wrong.
It'd just be so bad if she left him for like the head of HTS. Like literally just went to the other side immediately. Whoever the ruler of Syria is, that's who
she has to be connected to the ruler of Syria,
power.
Nothing else.
I just love Aleppo so goddamn much.
Is it true that he's gonna go back to being an eye doctor?
Does he want to get lynched? Like,
that would be.
I don't think like a Russian person would really care.
Sorry. I thought you meant back to Syria to be an eye doctor.
No. In Russia.
That is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever.
Like he just lives the rest of his life.
He just has a mustache and he's like,
Exactly.
No,
but did he even actually finish his degree? Was he not called to
called to service?
Called to service.
No, he was. No, he gotten his degree by the time his like brother had died, who was meant to be like the person in charge.
Yeah, but I don't think he was ever like an actual eye doctor.
Well, no, because he was like
he was. He totally was. He literally was. He was practicing on Harley Street.
Oh, really? He had to practice.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, look, unless we make it more lucrative for the medical profession in the UK generally, we're going to be losing qualified doctors to places like Syria and Russia. Where look, that's the thing. Like, you think, okay, oh no, we have to keep the public finances in order. But like, if you look in Syria, they let just a doctor live in the presidential palace, and unless we can match that, we're never going to keep them here.
Yep,
just absolute brain drain.
We're losing our. That's why no one can see is that all of our ophthalmologists are becoming sort of Ba'athist political leaders.
There's a real chance you could get a real shot in the arm of your career trajectory if you just move to Syria right now.
I mean, you could get a shot in the arm of your career trajectory, or just shot, hopefully, in the arm.
Shot, trajectory, those are the right words. So I think that's it for us today. Riley, where can people find you and your lovely work?
They can find me at No Gods, No Mayors .com, I think.
Dot mayor.
Yeah, no gods, no mayors .wasilla.alaska at sarahpalin.basketball. It's so fun. I want to do one observation I didn't get to make on the No Gods, No Mayors show about Sarah Palin.
A teaser.
Which is that when she became governor, she brought everybody from her high school basketball team into the state government on the basis that, like, oh yes, this person is now the state commissioner of agriculture, and they're qualified because they are fond of cows. And like I know them
Oh
from my
my
high school
God.
basketball. That's just what the like Alaska state government was in the late 90s and early 2000s. It was just like people have no idea what they're doing or appointed because they're fans of cows. So you know, this is like if you what this kind of like, you know, red meat eating right-wing politics is likely to look like is people getting appointed because they're just friends with the person who's firing the meat cannon. But like that's Sarah Palin's Alaska. That's what you have to look at for your model. But what I think is really funny is because it's everyone from her high school basketball team, she may not have assembled a great state government, but if the Alaskan government ever played a game of pickup basketball against another state government, they would probably have won.
I like the idea that there's like a dark secret somewhere that like, oh yeah, this guy who really likes cows was the second choice.
It was a lady.
Oh, sorry. This lady who really likes cows was the second choice. Unfortunately, our first choice was this local ophthalmologist who really just took his chances in Syrian politics and moved away.
This plucky upstart. It's just everyone was trying to scout Bashar al-Assad for the basketball team / agriculture commissioner of like lower state governments. Weirdly, I can't believe it. We lost him to Mount Athos, which is technically a self-governing Greek region.
Yeah,
I can't believe that they get to be the world's municipal basketball champs every fucking year.
And that's why we had to have the female you know, basketball player who liked, you know, cows because they can't poach them in Mathausos. No women allowed.
Anyway, sorry, I do also have to run, but that was that I didn't want to leave that observation unobserved. But it's always a blast to be talking to you guys. So thank you for having me back on.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
And we will catch you, the listener, on the bonus feed. Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.